Yeah. All righty, Nate. New York Yankees this week hit home runs in the 28th consecutive game, Major League record. Can you slug your way to a World Series title?
I don't think there's evidence to suggest that you can or can't, but last year, 8 of the top 10 teams in terms of home runs made the playoffs. The Red Sox were 9th in baseball in home runs, but led baseball in runs scored. The year before, only 2 of the top 8 teams in baseball in terms of home runs made the playoffs. The year before that, it was 3 of 8. And the Cubs were 13th the year that they won in 2016. So I think it's harder to rely on the home run in the postseason because, number one, the conditions are more difficult. It's cooler. The ball doesn't travel as well. So that's certainly an impact. But when it comes to the postseason, you win on pitching. You know, the Baltimore Orioles a couple years ago, they slugged their way to the postseason. They got to the playoffs. I don't think hit very many home runs at all because pitching is just better in the postseason. So that's not to say that they can't sustain that, but it is more difficult to hit home runs in the postseason.
I know that we've talked about this before. Aesthetically, do we like this trend?
It's too many this year. The only reason I say it's too many is you can still have a lot and not be where they seem sort of cheap. But going back to the Yankees, that game when they set the record on Tuesday night, I think is why you look at it and say it's going to be a problem for them in the playoffs. They hit 2 homers, first 2 at-bats. They hit 1 in the second inning. They got the lead in that game. The rest of the game, I thought they played horrible baseball, terrible on the base paths. Their pitching struggled, and if it wasn't the fact that it's Toronto and not a Boston or a Houston against them, I think they end up losing that game. They didn't get a clutch hit the rest of the night. Nothing else really worked for them, but they survived. That's the kind of game you survive in the regular season. You pounded out 3 home runs and you won. Now, Pat's over here thinks this is an old man take. This is not about the old man.
This is the definition of an old man take. It has a walker and it smells funny. This is an old man take.
It's not about I don't like home runs. I like home runs. I just don't like the fact that it is the all or nothing. And then as you translate, baseball is the sport that changes immensely from the regular season to the postseason. Does it not? I mean, it's a different game.
I'll listen to your argument about whether a team can sustain and win with home runs, but don't sit here and tell me it's not entertaining and it's too many home runs. You know what I hate? Too much cake or beer. It's horrible, right? Oh, God, please stop giving me cake. Bro, it's the most exciting thing in baseball to the casual fan. I get that you guys are nerds, and I'm with you too. I enjoy watching a pitcher's duel. I do.
Not a pitcher's duel.
Even a game where you got a couple of singles and doubles that'll be heading all parts of the field. I get that. But baseball has a problem, and you know this, right? It's hard to attract a casual fan to sit and enjoy an entire baseball game. If I have the likelihood of 4 to 6 home runs throughout a 9-inning game, I'm going to sit and watch that entire game.
So let me ask you, Pat, so would you prefer if all the other guys strike out? You see maybe 4 or 5 home runs, but everybody else is striking out. That's the problem with the trend is that it's all or nothing.
I get it. But then let's look at the NFL, right? We're at a point now, or at least we were for a while, where it was a 1-yard gain, 1-yard gain, 60-yard bomb. And NFL ratings have never been as high, despite the controversy that they faced. People want all or nothing.
Well, they want offense. I would say to you, if Aaron Judge is going to hit the ball 420, I want to see that. If Gleyber Torres has an inside-out swing that somehow gets over the wall in right field, and because of the baseball, it becomes a home run, they aren't quite the same thing.
I would be careful making that point as hard as you are because it might hurt your hip because that is an old man take.
To that point, talking to your interns in the press box the other day, all of them, and to a man, would rather see the home run derby than the All-Star game, which I think speaks to the same point.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, guys are just trying to hit the ball as far as they can. They're not just trying to poke it out. The home run derby is a little bit different because those guys go up there wanting to put on a show.
Yeah.
You know, in the regular season, they're just doing anything that they can to score runs, and a lot of times it's now become just hit the ball over the fence no matter what the conditions are, no matter what the stadium dimensions are.
You can equate it a little bit to the three-point shot in basketball. The fact that I love seeing the threes, I do think there are teams in games, Houston being an example, where it's a 3 nearly every time down court. Now, they can make them, but it does sort of diminish the game at times. I love the 3. You just don't need to take it every time down court.